Jones Show.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in Austin, joined with Paul Joseph Watson in the UK. We've been talking about Obama's amnesty, essentially crossing the Rubicon, announcing himself as emperor because, hey, he didn't get what he wanted out of the Congress, so he just decided to do it himself and bypass Congress. And so now Congress is this useless appendage if they don't do something about it. He's thrown down the gauntlet. Are they going to pick it up and do anything about it? We're hearing some tough talk. Rand Paul says he's not going to sit idly by and let the president bypass Congress and the Constitution. We hear U.S. Representative Mo Brooks, Republican from Alabama, went further. He said that there's a federal statute that punishes anyone who aids or abets, encourages or entices foreigners to unlawfully cross into the United States of America. In other words, Obama should face prison. There's a lot of people in the Obama administration that should face prison. Paul, you mentioned that Dennis Kucinich went through and had 37 points to impeach George W. Bush, and essentially we've met all those with Obama. And of course, if you look back at the articles of impeachment for Nixon, they look in many respects identical to what Obama has done, particularly using the IRS against his political enemies.
Well, precisely, and the reaction that we predicted, which was that the Republican leadership would do absolutely nothing, has come to fruition already. It's a top story on Drudge Report. Republicans leave town without a plan to fight Obama. President Obama's announcement may bring a constitutional crisis, in the words of Rep. Mike Simpson, but Republicans in Congress haven't the damnedest idea what they'll do about it. So they've already flown off on Thanksgiving recess with no plan whatsoever.
So the Republicans get this major win, right? And so they come back, and the only thing that they've done that I'm aware of was they passed the Keystone Pipeline thing for a 9th time, sending it to the Senate. They know it's going to be dead on arrival, but they keep doing that. They've done it 9 times, but they can't even be bothered to do anything about Obama's making himself an emperor. And they knew this was coming.
They've known it's been coming. I mean, if there's a funding bill for DHS or whatever, you can bet your bottom dollar they'll stick with it until it's passed. McCain and the rest of them. When it comes to this, they've already left. They've gone. And you were mentioning just at the top of the hour there, this federal statute. I actually got an email from somebody who found the original statute, which Representative Mo Brooks talked about. And it's actually imprisonment up to 10 years for anybody caught encouraging, inducing, aiding, or abetting an illegal alien for commercial advantage or private financial gain, in which the maximum term of imprisonment is 10 years for each alien. That's for each illegal alien they aid. So
he could be in there for about a number of years.
For a long prison sentence by the looks of it, if the Republican leadership were bothered.
Yeah, he could be in there for about the half-life of a piece of plutonium. Talking about Nixon and getting his Nixon on, this is on our website on InfoWars. It's from PJ Media. Bombshell email proves that the White House and the Department of Justice targeted reporter Cheryl Atkinson. I mean, you talk about having their enemies list, talking about acting exactly like Nixon, using the IRS against their enemies, going after their opponents in the press. They say one of the documents provides smoking gun proof that the Obama White House and Eric Holder's Justice Department colluded to get CBS News to block reporter Cheryl Atkinson. She was one of the few reporters who went after Fast and Furious. This is an email dated October 4th, 2011. Attorney General Holder's top press aide, Tracy Schmaler, called Atkinson, quote, out of control, told White House Deputy Press Secretary Eric Schultz that he intended to call CBS News anchor Bob Schieffer to get the network to shut her up. There we go. I mean, this guy, it's a target-rich environment, yet they won't do anything except pass the Keystone Pipeline for the 9th time. I don't care if you agree with the Keystone Pipeline or not. What are these guys doing? They're obviously serving their corporate masters, and they want the power levers when they get in. We'll be right back with Paul Craig Roberts. Stay with us.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with Super Male or Super Female Vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
When I first got online and I seen the price of the X2 and the DNA Force, I was a little hesitant, but I pulled the trigger on it. It has changed my life. I've been taking it for about 24 days now, counting the weight, staying in shape.
InfoWarsLife.com. You've heard the callers of the show.
Several months back, I started taking your Nathan Iodine and your Super Meal. Prior to this, I was barely walking. Now I'm able to function as a human again.
Whether it's Survival Shield, Nascent Iodine, or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Lung Cleanse, Fluoride Shield, Oxy Powder. I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com.
The X2, just amazing what it's able to do to actually detox the body. It's great stuff.
If I'm going to promote something, it's got to be something I personally use and that I believe in. Check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.
Using unparalleled research in the development of a synergistic formulation based around the key concepts of super oxygenation, the next level in cleansing is here. With key ingredients backed by real clinical studies, the new Oxy Powder, available through InfoWars Life, was invented during Dr. Group's research on the toxification of our bodies. Many herbal colon cleansers are harsh on the body and contain cheap and potentially dangerous ingredients, oftentimes full of synthetic fillers, GMOs, additives, or worse. Gently start cleaning your body with easy capsules that start working while you sleep. Oxy Powder does not require time off work, and there's no need for bad-tasting concoctions. Instead, Oxy Powder slowly releases monoatomic oxygen into the intestinal tract and body. Experience the astonishing cleansing power of superoxide and ozonide technology. Go to InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com to get started with Oxy Powder, or call 1-888-253-3139.
He's the T-Rex of political talk. Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in Austin. We're joined by Paul Joseph Watson in the UK. I wanted to get Paul's reaction to this, and I want to give you an idea. I just came across this story. This has been out for about a week. It's been kind of percolating. Could a rapper go to prison for cutting a rap album? Now, this is a rapper, Brandon Duncan, also known as Tiny Do. They say he's rapped with hip-hop artist Lil Wayne. But the bottom line is they're charging him with gang conspiracy. Now, listen to the conspiracy theory that the police have come up with. They're saying they're using a little-known statute that's been put in place by voters in 2000, allowing the prosecution of gang members if they benefit from crimes committed by other gang members. But this is what his attorney says. He says it's shocking. He has no criminal record. Nothing in his lyrics say go out and commit a crime. Nothing in his lyrics reference these shootings, yet they're holding him liable for conspiracy. You understand? I mean, this is guilt by association. This is something that could shut down the First Amendment if they allow this type of thing to stand. And one constitutional lawyer that they talked to, the local news station there, talked to him. He says, where does it end if that's the definition of criminal liability. Is Martin Scorsese going to be prosecuted if he meets with mafia members for a movie of his next film? The Constitution says it can't be a crime to simply make gangster rap songs and hang out with people who are committing crimes. You have to have more involvement than that. It truly is a guilt by association. And we go back to what Voltaire said, of course, about free speech. You know, I may hate what you're saying, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. If we don't take that attitude, say they pull up these cases. Here's somebody that, you know, most people are going to look at this. If you listen to what he's saying, you probably won't like it, especially if he's talking about the gang members that he's in there. But if we don't defend that kind of free speech in principle, we lose that. Furthermore, we're going to expose ourselves to that kind of liability. Just look at what they have been able to do with the RICO statute. That was going to essentially give them a free hand to come against the mafia by saying they were involved in racketeering, influence, and corruption. And so they had to confiscate their assets first before prosecution began so they could get a conviction. In other words, punish people before they're found guilty of something. We're seeing that happening everywhere now, not just with the war on drugs. We've even seen it in prosecutions of people who were involved in theft. They basically confiscated their home, which they were using as leverage to pay for their defense. So they confiscated their home, confiscated the money that they had gotten from refinancing their home to pay for their defense, leaving them literally defenseless. Paul, what do you think about this?
If that's set as a precedent, then every rapper under the sun is going to go to jail.
Yeah.
But they're also applying it politically. You remember a couple of years ago, the case of Brandon Raub. He made some political statements on his Facebook page, was grabbed and basically treated as a violent criminal, interned in a psychiatric ward for a period of days before he was able to get out, basically for some Facebook comments which were deemed to be threats of violence. If you actually read them, it was nothing of the sort within its own context. So they're using that to go after people politically now. It's still quite rare, but as you said, if they're allowed to set that precedent, it's chilling for free speech.
Well, you can see where they're heading with all of this stuff, because we've seen over and over again the efforts to try to get control of the internet, the FCC trying to assert its control of the internet, and they'll do it if that means supporting net neutrality or if it means taking down net neutrality. They've been on both sides of this issue. They're back on the side of net neutrality again because that seems to be the side that the public will support. But what they're really trying to do is establish a precedent where the FCC has control of the internet. And we've already seen with their moves to take the pulse of various newsrooms that they are very interested in controlling content, not just in allocating frequency. There's absolutely no need for the FCC to establish net neutrality. Net neutrality is what we've had for about 15 years, or as long as the internet's been going, and they don't need to have them come in to establish that, but they're trying to establish their control, and they're going to establish their control with these copyright legislations that they haven't been able to get through, CISPA, SOPA, ACTA, PIPA. They're going to do that with the Trans-Pacific, the Transatlantic Partnership trade agreements. That's a vital part of those agreements that are being negotiated in secret without our elected representatives even being able to see that. They're going to spring that on us. They're going to do that. Again, Obama couldn't get his legislative agenda through with amnesty, so he just declares it as a executive order. What they're going to do with this, since they can't get their agenda through with legislatively in America or in Europe, they're just going to bring it in as part of a trade agreement. It's defending freedom of speech. That's what these guys are really after. They're really trying to shut down the internet, shut down the press, just as we were talking about in the previous segment, Cheryl Atkinson being gagged by CBS. We now have the smoking gun proof. The emails have surfaced within the Justice Department, sending emails to CBS telling them to shut her up because she was asking questions about Fast and Furious, one of the few people in the mainstream media that was asking questions.
Yeah, and it's not just Cheryl Atkinson. We had the CNBC reporter silenced for criticizing Obamacare. So we have that case as well. We have, you know, CNN journalists who criticize the TSA, and then they go to the airport and find out that they get special treatment. Then going back to the FCC, I mean, you know, they're sending people into newsrooms to try and dictate news content under the guise of polls and surveys. The FCC is not the friend of free speech. And this net neutrality issue, they're not even pushing real net neutrality. They're pushing a reclassification of the internet under the Telecommunications Act. So they want it to look like cable television. This has been the agenda for a while.